Welcome to New Amsterdam in 1660, a Dutch trading outpost structured to manage commerce, labor, and legal order at the edge of the empire. Within a decade, it would pass to English control and be renamed New York, forming the administrative core of a different imperial system. I live in New Amsterdam. I work at the waterfront as a clerk recording cargo and contracts for the company. I am subject to its ordinances and courts. I live inside the settlement boundary near the warehouses. My work places me in daily contact with trade labor and enforcement. What follows reflects what I observe in order to do my job. I understand why this place exists because my work depends on it. New Amsterdam sits where sea routes meet the Hudson River. The river controls movement into the interior. Goods come downriver to one main exit. That exit is here. This concentrates trade. It reduces loss. It makes records easier to keep. It limits where outsiders can trade without being noticed. Ships can anchor close to shore. They unload quickly. They do not stay exposed for long. The river entrance is narrow. Traffic moves through one clear path. That makes checking cargo easier. It also makes rules easier to enforce. Tolls can be collected. Goods can be seized when needed. The location also helps with security. Water creates natural borders. Approaches are easy to see. A fort only needs to watch a few crossings. Walls do not need to be long when the land already directs movement. The settlement is built to use this advantage. I work near the docks. From there I see how space is organized. Warehouses face the water. Homes are placed behind them. Storage matters more than comfort. When ships arrive, private rooms are used to hold goods. No one complains. Trade comes first. The settlement stays small on purpose. A larger population needs more food. More food means more ships. More ships need protection. The company limits growth to what it can supply and control. This shapes everyday life. Goods arrive without a fixed schedule. When they arrive, work speeds up. Labor is reassigned. Deadlines tighten, arguments increase. The river brings furs from inland traders. The sea brings tools, cloth, and supplies. Coins are rare. Barter is common. Prices change without warning. I record the terms as they are not as people wish them to be. Nothing here is random. Streets, walls, and rules exist to keep goods moving and losses low. That logic runs the settlement. It also runs my work. I notice authority first in the pauses, not in commands. Work at the docks rarely begins at once. Goods sit where they are unloaded. People wait nearby. Movement starts only after papers are checked. Permits are read. Names are compared to lists. When something does not match, the cargo stays where it is. No argument follows. Delay is expected. I handle these papers each day. Ordinances are posted and copied. Some change without warning. When they do, earlier entries must be corrected. Old permissions stop applying. New ones are required. What matters is not intention, but alignment with the current rule. The court appears as an interruption to work. Hearings are short. A table is used. Written contracts are placed on it. Little is said. I am asked what is recorded, not what was discussed. Decisions are given quickly, so labor can return to its place. Fines are common. They end disputes without removing people from work. Enforcement is visible but controlled. Guards stand at crossings and near storehouses. They ask questions. They check marks. They redirect movement rather than stop it. Their presence increases when ships arrive and goods pile up. When trade slows, they recede. The rules are not applied evenly. Merchants speak and negotiate. Laborers wait. The enslaved are watched and moved without discussion. Outcomes follow position. This is visible to anyone who stands long enough to observe. After decisions are made, work resumes. Cargo moves again. Records are updated. The authority here does not announce itself. It presses quietly just enough to keep everything moving. Work here announces itself through noise and movement. When a ship approaches, voices rise before orders are given. Barrels are dragged closer to the water. Ropes are pulled into place. People gather without being called. They know when work is coming. Some workers step forward on their own. They lift, carry, and repair. They are paid when there is money. When there is none, they are dismissed. Injuries slow them down, but do not stop the work. If one man drops out, another fills the space. I rarely need to write their names. Others are assigned by contract. Their terms are known. Their time is counted. They wait for their names to be read. If they work slowly, they are corrected. If they refuse, they are punished. They do not leave when the day ends. They leave when their term does. There are also those who are brought without choice. They arrive under supervision. They are directed with gestures rather than words. One moment they are at the docks. Later, they are on the road. By night, they are sent elsewhere. Their labor is assumed. Their silence is enforced. Indigenous traders appear only briefly now. They unload exchange and move away. They do not stay. They are not assigned work. Their presence no longer shapes the day. Work continues in bad weather. Rain changes footing, not expectations. Illness is noticed only when it blocks movement. Rest is delayed until cargo is cleared. I record who was placed where and for how long. Labor here is arranged so that tasks are never left undone. That is the rule that governs the day. Now I'll show you how the place reveals itself when you move through it each day. Here's the waterfront where I spend most of my hours. The ground slopes unevenly toward the river and never fully dries. Your boots sink slightly into packed dirt and rotting wood. Planks groan when carts pass. Barrels are set out in loose rows, spaced just enough for hands and ropes to move between them. They are never stacked high. Everything here is meant to be lifted again soon. The air stays heavy with salt, damp hemp fish oil and animal hides. You smell the river before you see it. Nothing is arranged for rest. Everything is arranged for reach. Just inland is Pearl Street, following the line of the old shoreline. Houses crowd together here wall to wall. Many serve two purposes. Families live above. Goods sit below in shadowed rooms. Doors stay open through the day. You hear hammers, voices, crates sliding across floors. Work spills into the street and narrows it. Far south is Fort Amsterdam. Its walls are low but solid. The guns face the water. You hear metal before you see it. Soldiers pass through the same gates as everyone else. The fort watches the harbor, not the people. Here's the canal cutting through Broad Street. The water is slow and dark. It carries waste runoff and small boats. Narrow bridges force people to cross single file. Movement slows. That makes it easier to watch. North of this is the wall built from timber and packed earth. It marks the edge of the settlement. Guards stand by the gates. When they close, footsteps turn back. I plan my routes around those hours. I live close to my work because distance costs time. Most people do. The town is tight. Paths repeat. You hear the same sounds at the same corners. This place is small enough to cross quickly and narrow enough that nothing truly disappears. That is not an accident. It is how order is kept. That same order continues when the work pauses. It does not disappear. It shifts. You notice it first by sound. Bells ring, but they are not loud or long. They mark time, not devotion. Work slows briefly. It does not stop. People step aside, wash their hands, change their coats. Then they move in small groups, never all together. Here's a meeting house near the center. It looks like any other building from the outside. Plain walls, no signs. Doors open, then close. Voices stay low. When the gathering ends, the street fills again. Carts return. Tools are picked up. The pause is short. Farther along is another place used by a different group. The hour is not the same. Neither is the entrance. They do not cross paths. That is deliberate. Separation keeps order. Order keeps the day moving. Officials do not attend these gatherings to listen. They watch from outside. They look for crowding. They look for arguments. As long as people enter and leave, calmly nothing is said. Belief is allowed because it behaves. I plan my work around these moments. Certain tasks wait. Others continue. Deadlines adjust, but they are not removed. Worship fits into the schedule the way meals do. It has a place. It has a limit. No one here argues over doctrine in public. That would draw attention. Attention invites intervention. Most people keep their beliefs contained to the hour and the room where they belong. When the bells stop, the streets sound the same as before. Boots on wood. Carts rolling. Work resumes. Belief leaves no trace on the ground. That is why it is permitted. When belief leaves no trace, attention returns to what can cause damage. You feel it as the light fades. Gates are checked again because once they close, movement becomes predictable. Guards take their places without announcement. The river is watched more closely than the streets because anything dangerous arrives by water before it arrives on land. Nothing happens, but nothing is ignored. From the docks, you can see how eyes stay fixed on the river. Boats that arrive late draw questions. Boats that do not arrive draw more. Late ships can mean storms. They can also mean interception. Rumors move along the shoreline faster than goods. Someone heard a sail upriver. Someone else heard nothing at all. Both are noted because either could matter. Here's the fort again, quiet but alert. Weapons are cleaned, not raised. Powder is kept dry because damp powder is useless when time is short. Signals are reviewed even when no message is expected. The routine continues because waiting to prepare costs more than preparing too early. At dusk, movement changes. Work ends earlier because light limits visibility. Paths narrow because people stay close to what they know. Gates close at set hours, so no one needs to decide later. After that, footsteps slow or turn back. I adjust my errands to avoid questions. Surveillance blends into habit. A guard's glance, a pause at a crossing, a brief check of a load already cleared earlier. These moments are small, but they repeat because small failures spread quickly here. Risk is not an event. It is a condition. This place is contested, undersupplied, and easy to reach by water. That is why watchfulness never stops. By nightfall, the town quiets. Not from peace, but from caution. That caution is what keeps order intact. Now the settlement still functions, but I notice how little space it has to absorb change. Repairs are delayed instead of completed. A broken beam is braced, not replaced. Supplies arrive close to when they are needed, never far ahead. When ships are late, we wait. When instructions are unclear, we pause. Decisions often come from across the water, and the water slows everything. The fort remains quiet. The walls still stand. Trade continues. On the surface, nothing is wrong. That is what makes the unease harder to explain. I see it in small adjustments. More checking than before. Longer looks toward the river. Conversations that stop when footsteps approach. People listen more than they speak. Work continues, but it feels tighter, as if there is less margin for error. No one names a threat. There is no single sign to point to, yet the routines have grown heavier. Preparation repeats itself more often. The gates close with greater care. Late news carries more weight than it used to. This place depends on balance. Trade must move. Order must hold. Risk must stay distant. Lately, that distance feels shorter. I cannot say what is coming. I only know that the settlement is paying attention in a different way, as if something is near just beyond sight and moving closer without a clear shape. The system still works. That is what worries me most. And that's the story of New Amsterdam in 1660, seen through the eyes of a clerk who lived inside its routines, records, and quiet pressures. Not a city of legend yet, but a system trying to hold itself together day by day. If you found this perspective useful, I'd like to hear what you think. Did this way of walking through the city help you understand it better? Is there another place or period you'd want to experience from the inside like this? If you want more historical reconstructions told from ground level, leave your thoughts below and consider subscribing. We'll see you next time.